Instagram story highlights and strategy. So as you can see here, this is my Instagram pulled up on the desktop. So it might look a little bit different from on your phone, but the layout is very similar. So stories, of course, are when you click on your profile picture up here, and then the highlights are basically just stories that get saved, and you can categorize them into different things. So the purpose of this is to be able to build trust and also answer some customer objections or frequently asked questions all in one place. So posting on your feed, if I scroll down here, you can see a lot of these videos are just talking head, sort of educational videos, and a lot of these are just providing free value to the customers. So I'm helping them overcome certain challenges or struggles, or busting myths that they might have around content. It's all relevant to my ideal customer. But for your service-based business, you're going to be using your stories and your reels to help overcome those objections that customers would typically have. So let's say you are a home renovator and customers might be wondering, well, I want to renovate my home, but I know it's going to cost too much, or I know it's going to take too much time, or all of these common things that they would have objections about. What you're going to do is just create content that overcomes those objections. So you could make a video about, here's how we renovate homes in less time and for less money, and all those sorts of things, just to help overcome those objections that they would have. So that type of content will go onto your feed, but on your story, we want to post more things that are along the lines of behind the scenes or day-to-day things, or even kind of personal stuff that you have going on, just to inject more personality, more trust, and more authenticity into your page and into your content. So I like to think about stories as a TV show with commercials that are sprinkled throughout. So for every 3 to 5 stories that you post, you shouldn't be trying to sell anything. There shouldn't be any call to actions. There shouldn't be any message me now to learn more, to book a consultation or anything like that. You just want to provide that free value and that free content that people want to see. And then sprinkled in that is where you can start putting in things like call to actions and like these keywords like I have in my bio here. DM me this keyword for a breakdown. So I would have just stories that are showing, again, behind the scenes of maybe some jobs that you're doing or some services that you're providing, and then have like a sunset picture or something like that, just nothing that is selling anything, just pure entertainment, pure free value and content for your followers and for your audience. And then sprinkle in some of those commercials in your TV show. So have a call to action, have something where people can message you to learn more, something along those lines. So I'll click on my stories here and show you an example of typical things that are being posted. So classic example of just getting on camera and talking. So there's a video here just showcasing how to get your content to do the selling for you. So it's just a topic that my customers would be interested in and would want to learn more about. And it's just showing me on camera, just sharing some tips with them, sharing some insights so that they can see that. And the next story is going to be, again, just more value, a static image here. I know this is a funny looking photo, but just showing more value, providing a hook at the top of the story is something I love to do. Just have some text up there that's going to grab people's attention. So have a good, strong sentence that's going to give them a reason why they want to read it and see what's going on and stop scrolling. So again, just providing more value, completely free. The next one you can see, again, just nothing even related to business, just a casual sunset, right? It's the classic example. You see these all the time on social media. It's just, I'm putting a piece of content out there that is not trying to sell anything. That's really the take home behind this. So I want to just have enough of that content where it's not selling anything, it's not asking people to take any action or do anything. And then once I have enough of those, I will follow it up with something like this that's more engaging. So this is a poll, right? You can see people can either vote yes or no. And a good strategy to do with those is to post some sort of struggle or some sort of, even just ask people. You can post questions on your story as well. So where people can type in and press something and ask you a question. And it's just another way to get engagement with your stories. But what you can do is even with the poll where it's a yes or a no, you can have different options to where, let's say it's multiple choice. Ask a question like, hey, what are you struggling with the most when it comes to renovating your home, right? If you're a home renovation business. And you can have different options as the answer, and then based on what those people select and answer on your poll, you can then reach out to them and shoot them a message and be like, hey, if one of the things was, I feel like I don't have the time to renovate my home, and that was an option and someone clicked that, that's the perfect opening to a conversation. So you can DM them, you can send them a message, say, hey, I noticed you checked out the story and you answered, this answer on the story. Like, why do you feel that way? And it just gives you a way to start that conversation. So that's the whole goal with stories, is again, providing value with people first and just giving them free content to consume, and then eventually sprinkling in those sorts of prompts where you're asking them to take an action. You're asking them to message you. You're asking them if they're interested, something along those lines, but you're only doing that after you provide all of the behind the scenes content, the other sorts of content first. So you just don't want to overdo it on the stories. And with the highlights, again, all of the highlights that are saved on the page, they're already story posts. So if I click here, I have a behind the scenes highlight. And again, it's just random, like these are from 29 weeks ago. So you can see it's very old, but these are stories that were posted originally as stories. And then you have the option to save them as a highlight. So like I said, I'm on the desktop here, so you don't have the same access as if you were on your phone. But if you're on your phone, when you're on a story and you're looking at it, you'll see options at the bottom of the screen. And one of them is like a heart with a circle around it. If you click on that, it'll give you the option to save it to your highlight. So you can just create highlights that are on these different topics. Like I would recommend definitely having a behind the scenes sort of highlight, right? Where you can show all that behind the scenes footage that you post onto your story, and knowing that those stories go away after 24 hours, a way you can just keep them up there constantly so people can access them 24/7 is just to add them to the highlight. So normal stories disappear after 24 hours, but if you save it to the highlight, it'll just save there and people can always access it. So behind the scenes would be a great one to have. I have clients here, you could just have, results, testimonials, something along those lines that's relevant to your business. And I just have a personal one here. So like life, right? Like this is just showing random things that, again, it's just the idea of putting out the free value and the free content. Yes, that is my dog. And again, showing things like the gym, the beach, like things that you're interested in. It's nothing related to selling anything, right? It's just giving people free content to consume and to look at. And then even for me, for the clients, again, you could have case studies, testimonials. This is great. Like share results that your clients have had. Like this is an actual example of a client who messaged me and said, hey, look, these are the results I got from implementing what you helped me with. Post that onto your story, save it to your highlights. That way, when new people discover you, they're going to be looking for these things, right? They're going to be looking for testimonials. They're going to be looking for behind the scenes. They're going to be looking for to have their questions answered. So if you have like a frequently asked question story highlight where you get common questions all the time and you have one place where you can answer all these questions for people, it's going to be very, very helpful to them because they're already getting their questions answered before they have to take the time to even reach out or talk to you. So it's perfect when you have all of this in one place, and it's a huge part of the Instagram social media strategy. So I know in the last video we talked about optimizing your profile, and as part of that is not only just your profile picture, not just your bio, but also your stories and your story highlights. Because again, this is something that people are going to see once they land on your page, and we always try to think from the perspective of our customers. So again, I know who my ideal customer is. You need to take some time and think about who is the ideal customer that you can help, and what would they want to see in order to build trust and build credibility with me as a business owner. So think about that for your business and try to optimize your highlights around that. So think from the perspective of your customer and just put all that content, all that information into one place for them to consume. And like I said, just shoot me a message if you have any questions. I'd be happy to help, but make sure that you set this up for your Instagram.